Okay. So the question arises, what are the diagonalizable matrices? Yeah, that is the question. And we now know a general criterion. We know a general criterion that the algebraic and geometric multiplicity of each and every eigenvalue have to be equal for a matrix to be diagonalizable. But this requires us to find the eigenvalues. Unless I calculate the eigenvalues, there is no way that I am going to test this criterion. Yeah, and computing eigenvalues is a difficult task because they are roots of a degree n polynomial. Yeah, and computing roots of degree n polynomial is very difficult in general. You may not be able to find exactly what the roots are. You can at most hope for approximation to the roots. Of course, for many applications, approximation of roots is good enough, but it may alter the diagonalizability of the matrix. If I change the roots, the diagonalizability may be altered. Okay, so therefore we need some other criteria which just looks at the structure of the matrix, and then looking at the matrix without computing the characteristic polynomial, I should be able to say whether the matrix is diagonalizable or not. Okay, so we start looking into this question. What are the structural properties of a matrix which will ensure that the matrix is diagonalizable without computing the characteristic polynomial? And this class of matrices I want to introduce now. These are called normal matrices, Hermitian matrices, symmetric matrices. We will see that many matrices have nice structural qualitative properties which ensure that the matrix is diagonalizable. Okay, so let's look at this class of matrices. Yeah, any questions? Okay, so suppose I have a real n by n matrix. And so the linear transformation which is induced by A is going to act on Rn. And suppose Rn has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors of A. So put dot product, ordinary dot product on Rn. So Rn becomes an inner product space. And with this inner product, I can talk about perpendicular vectors. Yeah, length of vectors. So fix an inner product. So let's take the usual dot product, and suppose Rn has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Then let us see that the matrix has to be a symmetric matrix. So earlier we said that a matrix is diagonalizable if it has a basis of eigenvectors. But now I am demanding that not only we have a basis of eigenvectors, the eigenvectors in this basis are mutually perpendicular and they have length 1. Yeah, so I have an orthonormal basis of Rn consisting of eigenvectors of A. Then let's see that it forces the matrix to be symmetric. Okay, it forces the matrix to be symmetric. Let's see why. So this is a structural property. By looking at the matrix, I can tell whether the matrix is symmetric or not. Yeah, and this is forced if I say that there is a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Now, if a matrix is diagonalizable, yeah, there is a basis of eigenvectors of Rn. Once I have a basis of eigenvectors, I can apply Gram-Schmidt process and produce a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. So this theorem is saying that if a matrix is diagonalizable, if a real matrix is diagonalizable, yeah, it has real eigenvectors, a basis of real eigenvectors of Rn, then it must be a symmetric matrix because orthonormal basis can be produced. Okay, it can be produced. Okay, so let's assume that I have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors of A, then the matrix is symmetric, right? And the corresponding criterion for complex matrices is that if I have n by n complex matrix, and suppose Cn has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, so on Cn I have Hermitian inner product. Yeah, I have Hermitian inner product. So inner product on Cn, suppose x and y are two column vectors in Cn, then this inner product I define as x star times y. X star is a row vector which is taken by taking the complex conjugate of every component of X times the column vector Y. So this is the inner product in Cn, Hermitian inner product. Okay, so take this Hermitian inner product and take a n by n complex matrix. Suppose it has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, just like here for Rn has orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Suppose I fix the complex matrix and that also has the orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Then A star and A commute with each other. A star times A has to be equal to A star. Okay, A star A has to be A star. Now we saw this matrix 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. Yeah, we saw that this matrix had one eigenvalue and eigenspace was one dimensional. This was not invertible. This was not a diagonalizable matrix. Yeah, this matrix was not a diagonalizable matrix. So let us see why that happened. What is the reason? This theorem is explaining what is the reason. So A was the matrix 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, and in this case A star is A transpose. So A transpose is equal to 1, 1, 0, 1. So let us see whether A transpose A. What is A transpose A? 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1 times 1, 1, 0, 1. So this is equal to 1 and then 1 and 1, 1 and 2. 1, 0, right. 1, 0, 1, 0, this is 1, 1, 1, right. Now look at A transpose. A transpose 1, 1, 0, 1. A transpose 1, 1, 0, 1. So that is equal to 2, 1, 1, 1. So you see, A transpose is not equal to A transpose A. Yeah, and this criterion is actually capturing that property, that what really went wrong. Besides the fact that the eigenspace is too small, this is also a property which went wrong, that A does not commute with A transpose. And this is captured by this, that if I have n by n complex matrix and there is a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, then A must commute with its Hermitian, the complex conjugate A star. And if I have a real matrix which has orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, then it must be a symmetric matrix. So such matrices are called normal matrices. Those which commute with their complex conjugate transpose, these are called normal matrices. Right? So given without computing the characteristic polynomial, I can tell whether a matrix is not diagonalizable. I just check whether A star is equal to A star A. If it is not satisfied, it cannot have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Okay, and similarly, if A is not symmetric, it cannot have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Let us prove that. Yeah. So assume that a real square matrix has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. I want to prove it is symmetric. Yeah. So once it has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, I list the ordered basis of mutually perpendicular unit vectors VI's. And suppose lambda i's are the eigenvalues, then AVI is equal to lambda I VI. Form the diagonal matrix. We have seen before that if on basis elements, if AVI is lambda I VI, then the matrix A is similar to the diagonal matrix lambda 1 lambda n. And the eigenvectors go into the invertible matrix as column vectors of the invertible matrix, and AP equal to PD. Yeah. So but this V1 up to Vn, they form a orthonormal basis. They are unit vectors and they are mutually perpendicular. But this condition simply says that the matrix P that we form for the eigenvectors, the matrix P whose column vectors are the eigenvectors, and if these form orthonormal basis, then of Rn, then P transpose P is equal to identity matrix. Because P transpose identity matrix is precisely saying that eigenvectors are unit vectors and they are mutually perpendicular. You just multiply P transpose P and you will see that this statement is same as saying that the column vectors of P form a orthonormal basis. Yeah. So A is equal to, because of this condition, A has orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, translates into two conditions. First condition is AP equal to PD. The second condition is P transpose P equal to identity. So AP equal to PD means A is equal to PD P transpose. And therefore I take A transpose is PD transpose P transpose. I want to show that A is symmetric. So I want to show that A is equal to A transpose. Now you see A is equal to PD P transpose. A transpose is PD T transpose, but D equal to D transpose. Where D is a diagonal matrix. D is symmetric. Diagonal matrices are all symmetric. So A is symmetric. Yeah. So if there is a orthonormal basis of Rn correspond for a matrix of eigenvectors of a matrix, then the matrix is forced to be symmetric. So it's a structural property of the matrix that we have derived using the existence of orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, and orthonormal property was heavily used to get that A is symmetric, because if you at this stage, if this was not the case, yeah, P transpose P was not the case, then you cannot get this, yeah, because AP equal to PD means P A equal to this says that A equal to PD P inverse, yeah, but P transpose P equal to identity, it implies that P transpose is P inverse. Okay, that's why I have A equal to PD P transpose. Okay, right? So orthonormal property of the basis of eigenvectors translates into A being equal to PD P transpose, because P inverse is replaced by P transpose, and that gave me that A is symmetric. Same theorem is true for complex matrices. I have to replace the symmetry by A star A equal to A star. Okay. Yeah. So now suppose I have a complex matrix and there is an orthonormal basis of Cn, so that AVI equal to lambda I Vi. Yeah. And take the diagonal matrix D and let P be n by n matrix whose ith column is Vi. So the matrix P which diagonalizes the given matrix always has its column vectors as eigenvectors of the given matrix. But now we have orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. So the P matrix has column vectors which are mutually perpendicular and they are unit vectors. But now our inner product is the Hermitian inner product, because we are considering A to be a complex matrix. So AP is equal to P times D. This is the property that column vectors of P are eigenvectors and eigenvalues are in the diagonal as diagonal entries of D. So if V1 up to Vn are orthonormal basis of Cn, then the earlier property that P transpose P is identity now translates into P star P equal to identity, because the inner product is Hermitian inner product. Okay, so therefore P star is the inverse of P. If the column vectors of P form a orthonormal basis of Cn, then P star is the inverse of P. Computing inverse is very easy for a so such matrices are called unitary matrices. Unitary matrices. P star P is equal to. So they are analogs of matrices where P transpose P equal to identity, and P transpose P equal to identity for a real matrix says that the column vectors of P form a orthonormal basis of Rn, and those matrices are called orthogonal matrices. Okay, so P star P equal to identity means P star is P inverse, and therefore A is equal to PD P inverse P star, and so A star is equal to PD star P star. But D, what about A star then? A star. Now I cannot say that D star is D, you see. Unless eigenvalues are real, I cannot say D is D star. Because to compute D star, I have to take complex conjugate of every entry and then take the transpose. Transpose of diagonal matrix is itself, but the complex conjugate may be different because some eigenvalues could be complex. So I cannot say D is D star. Okay, so I cannot say A is equal to A star, but A star is fine. A star is PD P star. This is A star is PD star P star. This is P D D star P star, because P star times P is identity. So that goes away. I get P D T star P star. And similarly, A star A is equal to P times D star D P star, and D star D is equal to D D star, because you can just check for a diagonal matrix, any two diagonal matrices commute with each other. Yeah, so in particular D and D star will commute, and therefore A star is same as A star A. Yeah. So such matrices are called normal matrices. A square complex matrix is called normal if A star A is A star. A square complex matrix is called Hermitian if or self-adjoint or respectively skew Hermitian. If A star equal to A, then we say it's a Hermitian matrix. If A star equal to minus A, we say it is skew Hermitian matrix. So Hermitian matrices are analogs of real symmetric matrices. And skew Hermitian matrices are analogs, complex analogs of skew symmetric matrices. And normal matrices, they contain Hermitian matrices, skew Hermitian matrices, symmetric matrices, real symmetric matrices. Yeah, or they will also contain unitary matrices. So the concept of normal matrix is very, very general. Yeah, this is very, very general. So normal matrices, it's a huge class. Normal matrices. It just says it's a complex matrix which commutes with complex conjugate. Yeah, but if I take say Hermitian matrix, which means A equal to A star. So this is, if A equal to A star, both sides are clearly equal. Skew Hermitian, A star is minus A. Then also left hand side is minus A square, right hand side is also minus A square. So skew Hermitian matrices are also normal. Then so therefore real symmetric matrices and skew symmetric matrices, they are also normal matrices. Let's take a orthogonal matrix. So orthogonal matrix means U transpose U equal to identity, which means the column vectors of U form a orthonormal basis. They are unit vectors which are mutually perpendicular. If U transpose U is identity, then UU transpose is also identity. So U transpose U is same as UU transpose. It's a real matrix, and therefore it is a normal matrix. So therefore orthogonal matrices are orthogonal matrices are normal. Similarly, if U star U equal to identity equal to UU star, it also implies U is normal, because U star U is same as UU star. So unitary matrices, orthogonal matrices, skew symmetric matrices, symmetric matrices, Hermitian matrices, skew Hermitian matrices, they're all normal matrices. So it's a huge class. Okay, it's a huge class of matrices, complex matrices. Yeah, now let me state the theorem which will say how to find matrices which are diagonalizable. Yeah, necessary and sufficient condition. So any symmetric real matrix has a orthonormal basis of Rn consisting of eigenvectors. I proved the converse already, that if a matrix has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, the matrix must be symmetric. If a matrix has a complex matrix has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors of Cn, it must be a normal matrices. Now I am proving the converse, that these conditions are sufficient. That is, if I have a symmetric real matrix, it will always have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Yeah. So in particular, it will imply that the dimensions of the eigenspaces are equal to the algebraic multiplicity of the corresponding eigenvalues. But we are not going to calculate the characteristic polynomial in order to prove this. We just follow a more conceptual approach, because computing characteristic polynomial is difficult. Okay, but still we want to show that once the matrix is symmetric, then it has a orthonormal basis of Rn of eigenvectors. Okay, then spectral theorem for normal matrices, if I have n by n complex normal matrix, then it has a orthonormal basis of Cn consisting of eigenvectors. Okay, so in the complex case, the condition is normality of the matrix, which means A star A equal to A star. In the case of real, the condition is A transpose is A. That's all. Once A transpose is A, then Rn will have a basis of eigenvectors which are mutually perpendicular of unit length. Once the matrix is normal, then Cn will have a basis of eigenvectors of A which are unit vectors and mutually perpendicular. Okay, so our approach here will be, we will prove this theorem for Hermitian matrices. It will imply the theorem for symmetric matrices. The same proof dicto will prove that the symmetric matrices have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. We will prove that Hermitian matrices have a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors, and then the spectral theorem of normal matrices will come out as a consequence. So the real work is done when we try to prove that Hermitian matrices are diagonalizable, and there is a basis of Cn consisting of unit vectors which are mutually perpendicular. But in order to do that, let us first observe that the eigenvalues of a Hermitian matrix are real, although the matrix can be complex. Yeah, Hermitian matrix is n by n complex matrix, so that A star equal to A. Yeah, A star equal to A, that's the condition of Hermitian property. But eigenvalues of Hermitian matrix are real. So in particular, it will say that the eigenvalues of a real symmetric matrix are also real, because real symmetric matrices are Hermitian matrices. Okay, so we are at once proving that real symmetric matrices and Hermitian matrices have real eigenvalues. Okay, so proof is little tricky, but it is short. Suppose I have a Hermitian matrix. First, I look at any vector in Cn. Then consider V star AV. So V star is the complex conjugate transpose of V. V is a column vector. AV is a column vector. V star AV is the Hermitian inner product of V and AV. I take this star of this. Star meaning transpose and conjugate. But this is equal to V star A star V, and A star equal to A because A is a Hermitian matrix. Yeah. So it says that, but V star AV is a 1 by 1 matrix, 1 by 1 complex matrix, and star has turned out to be equal to itself, and therefore it says that V star AV is a real number. Yeah, 1 by 1 matrix, when do we say it is Hermitian? Only when it is real, right? So V star AV is always a real number for any V belonging to Cn. Yeah. So now suppose, so V star AV is a real number. So in other words, it says that if I take the inner product of V with AV, then this is a real number. If my matrix is Hermitian matrix, if this matrix is Hermitian, then inner product of V with AV is a real number. So suppose lambda is an eigenvalue and V is the corresponding eigenvector. So AV is equal to lambda V. Yeah. Then look at V star AV. This is V star, AV is lambda V, but lambda will come out. This is a matrix product. Yeah, this is a matrix product. So lambda comes out. So lambda V star V. V, what is V? V star V is square of length of V. In my Cn, that's how our Hermitian product is working. That square of length of V is V star V. V star V is the inner product of V with itself, and that is the square of length of V. And so just look at this. This is a real number. This is a real number. Okay, and lambda, and therefore has to be real number. Okay. Yeah, so we have used properties of the Hermitian inner product to prove that the matrix is Hermitian. Matrix Hermitian, that was used here, and we first observed that V star AB is real, and that implies that every eigenvalue of a Hermitian matrix is a real number. Okay, so the characteristic polynomial has only real roots of a Hermitian matrix. Yeah, so this is a structural property of a given matrix, that it is a symmetric matrix, but then once the matrix is symmetric, then the characteristic polynomial will have only real roots. This is really surprising. Yeah, it's, on one hand we have nature of the roots of the characteristic polynomial, on other hand we have a structural property of the real matrix, that once I have symmetry in the matrix, okay, once the data is symmetric, then the only possible roots of the characteristic polynomial are all real. Okay, right? So we will keep that fact in mind. Okay, now we want to prove the spectral theorem, that is real symmetric matrices and Hermitian matrices, they are diagonalizable. But we will take a conceptual approach. We will translate these properties into properties of linear operators. Okay, so proof of spectral theorem for self-adjoint matrices can be given working only with matrices. There is a matrix theoretic proof. Okay, so one can prove this, but I want to teach a coordinate-free approach. Okay, and you will see that it is more intuitive, it is more geometric, and you can remember. One can understand this proof very easily, and a short, understandable conceptual proof is telling you why something is happening, rather than getting entangled into lots of matrix manipulations. Yeah, one can give a proof using matrix manipulations and prove the spectral theorem for matrices. But we want to prove the spectral theorem for linear transformations, which is much better, because differential equations give rise to linear transformations which have properties of symmetric matrices and Hermitian matrices. So a theorem which we want to prove for matrices will be applicable to differential equations. This is possible only when you move to the level of linear operators rather than matrices. Okay, so we want to develop a coordinate-free version of the concept of self-adjoint matrix. Self-adjoint matrix is a common name for symmetric matrices and Hermitian matrices. So both are called self-adjoint. Self-adjoint real matrix is real symmetric, and self-adjoint complex matrix is a Hermitian matrix. So I will use the same notation, same terminology. I will say self-adjoint. So if it is real, it is symmetric. If it is complex, it is Hermitian. So we want to now find a concept about linear operators which will generalize the concept of self-adjoint matrix. And this is done by understanding the action of the matrix. The action of the matrix will translate into a nice property of the linear operator, which will correspond to the idea of self-adjoint matrix. Yeah. So suppose I have a finite dimensional vector space, which is inner product space. So we are dealing with Rn with the inner product. We are dealing with Cn with inner product. Okay. And the most commonly used inner products are dot product and Hermitian inner product. So take a finite dimensional inner product space over a field of scalars. This could be R, this could be C. Okay, a linear operator from V to V. So it's a n-dimensional vector space. We will say it is self-adjoint if this condition is satisfied. Inner product of x with ty is inner product of tx with y. So I can move t here, and inner product does not change. And this should happen for every pair of vectors. Then we say the linear operator is self-adjoint. Yeah. So whether you take the inner product of x with ty or inner product of tx with y, the answer is the same. Then we say, if this is true for every pair of vectors, then we say it is self-adjoint linear operator. Let's see that symmetric and Hermitian matrices give rise to self-adjoint linear operator. So suppose I have a symmetric matrix and TA be the corresponding associated linear operator. So the TA V is equal to A times V. Now let's check this property. Yeah, let's check that. Let's show that the linear transformation induced by symmetric matrix is self-adjoint. So take the dot product of X with AY, that is X transpose AY. This is X transpose A transpose Y, and because A is equal to A transpose, A is equal to A transpose, A is my symmetric matrix. But X transpose AY is simply the inner product of AX with Y. So inner product of X and AY is same as inner product of AX and Y, and so therefore this TA is self-adjoint. Yeah. Similar proof, exactly similar proof will give you that if my matrix is Hermitian, then the induced linear operator on Cn is self-adjoint. So Hermitian matrices and will give rise to self-adjoint linear operator on n-dimensional complex space, and the real symmetric matrices n by n will give rise to linear operators on Rn which are self-adjoint. So both these types of matrices are giving rise to self-adjoint linear operator. And we will prove that a self-adjoint linear operator acting on finite dimensional inner product space has a orthonormal basis of eigenvectors. Once I prove that, it will apply to TA where A is symmetric, it will apply to TA when A is Hermitian, and it will produce the orthonormal basis of Rn for real symmetric matrices, orthonormal basis of Cn for Hermitian matrices.